Good morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Oh, it was pretty good. I mean, I just a little busy at work and kind of aligned with not really wanting to, stick my neck out there too much with the current setups. But yeah, I mean, some have done really well. Some of the battered SAS and solar and uh, and then energy, of course, has kind of been the one. Just just kind of steering those a bit, not piling in. Just already was pretty well positioned there.
Yeah, I played Monday and or Tuesday and Friday, and I have two five stretch holes of 8 over, and I finished with an 84 both times. So I had 4 over the other like 12 holes. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's how. I mean, that's where we are. We knew where we were at. Um, as far as the trading goes, I mean, I if when I'm at the screens, um, buying 10, 100 shares or something, just to follow along, has been okay. But other than that, the just sticking in the big theses, and then watching the stuff trying to set up for when we do turn around that I want to go long in, which I think is where we'll be talking the next few weeks. Probably not today, but next few weeks that's where we're gonna go. Kind of had the groundhog come out and say 2 more weeks of fucking nuclear winter going on over there. But for me, it's just getting clearer and clearer. I don't know about y'all, but I think I said 4 to 6 weeks ago. I wrote that down on my page and knew it was kind of going to be reddish. So thank you trades to start it off, and I've kind of not necessarily got away from that, but just it's not it's not fun. It's not why I trade. I'm a started
Yeah.
started this whole process kind of as the momentum thing. Before that, being a swing trader where I just buy and go back to work. So it's one of the two. I don't want a third trick. I need the volume to be overwhelming in things so I can read it, so I can see through the matrix, so to speak. Or I need to put my money somewhere and go back to work. And right now, work is swinging a golf club for me. Um,
Yeah.
so so that's what I'm doing. I mean, you guys all watch the market. Um, I'm not going to sit here and create content in my room Monday through Friday for people to get excited about something on a 5 minute level. But I'll let you know when it turns around, and I'll continue to do the work we do together. Day in day out, because that's how you're going to see it first. And it's paid off enough for me over here to know that's what we got to do. And yeah. So the market's ass, and life is good. I guess that's where I'm at, P.
Yeah. Right. And I think when there's some very good setups developing that are out to August and you know in January. Obviously, we've talked a lot about when you're talking January contracts and it's April. Um, there isn't a lot you can do with that, but you still have to be aware of those and what they're positioning around and then as monthly expirations come up and I see like the open interest out there that they're maybe trying to rescue or something like that. So there's there's a lot to read. There's a lot of tentative setups. There's a lot of I can see they're going to kick the can down the road. I'm just waiting for them to do it before I talk about it. So yeah, the work doesn't stop, but I think um, there isn't necessarily a lot of urgency. They're kind of they're waiting too, and they're not just panicking and pulling everything out of the market. And I think on the minute chart, that's what it looks like to people. But the ability to see through that is really crucial to what we do.
I can't get into collabs right now to give an exact date, but I do see a lot of the shorter months. Your May, your June, a couple dynamites even. Not a lot of boxing gloves. And what I always try to take professor's verbiage and figure out like what it means to me. And what I just said, what that means equals in professor's language, they're not sticking their neck out. That's what
Yeah,
that means. And
exactly.
and so understanding that not necessarily they're on the sidelines, but they're just not aggressive with anything. Just fits the thesis currently of where we are. Because I mean, we kind of talked about being overextended, market being scared of 700, needing some pullback, and then we ran into a conflict. Um, but when we were talking about that, we 100% said to you guys, don't be scared of that 50 SMA pullback. It's, you zoom out on the SPY on the main one, and it's just healthy through the years. It's up and to the right. So now that we're here, it's is there another level down, or what level do we trade at? And I thought about that pretty much the whole week. Um, I probably watch SPY more than I do in a month, um, because that's where you're going to see the I guess the balance at. Not necessarily the bounce, but just the balance. The bounce will come in the smalls or the sectors. And
So here's a kind of a
perfect.
quick illustration. So if you have a stock and it it pulls back. Well, I'll just give one. I'll give one as an example.
Yeah, it's Easter. Get some stuff away today.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's see. So
Fucking professor in the minute chart.
yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, it worked for app. You can check my note on that. That was where I was last time. But okay. So you take something like Workday,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say Workday gets like a firecracker at, I don't know, 150 or something like that, or 160, whatever, and
221.
and there's no boxing glove associated with it, and then there's some existing open interest at whatever 170, 180, and further out, right? That without the boxing glove setup, what's likely to happen is that you probably can get a good move. But what do you think is going to happen when they close and just bail out on all that open interest? Like, it's not fully recovered from where they were. They don't really care about that. They're just wanting to maybe reset this for later, whatever. It's just going to sell right back off. And so that's a lot of what you're in, and that's what these kind of firecrackers mean. It's not going to have enough juice to get to that pivot until the smoke clears, quite literally, maybe, on Iran and all that shit, and this is caught up in this big death spiral of AI FUD, and Microsoft said, I don't know if you saw, Microsoft's talking
Yeah.
about Copilot, and they're like, "Oh, Copilot's for entertainment purposes." Very weird quote that the guy had. Given that they're really, they've been shoving that in everyone's face to use in their daily workflows and all that, and so, but at the same time, you can see me. I'm interested in these HR stocks and all that, but it's definitely it's DCA mode, and it's because of these setups I'm talking about, where it's like you've got the kind of lone wolf contract they're gonna use to do some work to try to get out of some open interest, but they don't, by not putting their neck out, they don't have the complexity of, well, this contract's going to lead to this one, and they've got this one out to March of next year. This is where they're sitting in leaps, and you don't see that, and that's the stuff that you saw when it made the 140 to 300 move, and we were talking about Workday a couple years ago. That was there. So we're back in the same area, but different different conditions. It's not as good yet, and so I think you can't force those setups to happen. We're gonna live down here for a while, and it might pop again. I mean, it just it went 130 to over 150 not that long ago, and we're here we are again. So you might live down here for a while, and you just gotta be ready for that. The pop and fade.
I,
Is
I
a lot
got
of
two. I got two-parter there for you, maybe three, but the first one's just a statement. If you're anchored VWAPed in ideas from when we started trading, or whenever whoever I'm speaking to started trading, um, you're gonna get you're gonna get killed.
Mhm.
I talked a few weeks ago about value and growth kind of being redefined currently, and
Yeah.
when we came into the market, anything that was just a good idea was was going to the moon,
Right.
like literally going to the moon, and thinking that's going to come back, or anything like that's sustainable or what people are into currently, is just not the thing. But I hang out with professors, so during talking to you right there, gold and silver is tradable. Discount stores, all the discount stores pulling back to the EMAs, SMAs,
Yeah.
kind of big. Like they're the early winners in my opinion. And then man, if it doesn't have energy right now, wrapped around the thesis somehow or in the thesis, um, like what are you even doing? I mean, and I got all that from you pretty much. So,
Yeah.
um, and that those two kind of go together because if you are looking for X, Y, or Z, that's a bad example. Um, to do it again or get that full move again from zooming out on the chart, I just think you're mistaken in where this market's going to probably go. I mean, it will happen with a few, but getting that lift again in those names is probably not going to happen. But we just seen those kind of moves in gold and silver over the last year. So that's the whole point of kind of moving the ideas to, what is next or what is actually going to happen. And a lot of people get stuck in that, you know, what they came up in or what they learned um, in general. Just two thoughts I had while you were talking about Workday.
Yeah, yeah, right. And the discount store comment made me think of this one. And Ross,
Last five.
if you ever if you've ever been to one, like you know that the brands that they have there are
Yeah.
just your brands people want and all that, and they're cheaper, and so people are gonna kind of gravitate to
Look, I,
stores like that to kind of maintain the things they normally buy.
do you go to
Get them more.
Ross? Do you go to
Oh
Ross?
yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. What do you buy?
Well, my wife buys my clothes there.
Okay.
So,
I used to always go through there to see what they had because you're right, they have all kinds of brands. But like I'm a
yeah, yeah.
my pillows, my towels,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
picture
Everything like that. Right.
frames. I get all
A lot of
kinds of
a lot
shit
of
from there.
office decor for my wife. Like she gets her
Yeah.
stuff like that there, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a great little store, and they all are. That yeah, and I think we have again we have it. We're talking about one here. We probably have like six of these.
yeah.
So sectors. That's in general. This one against the grain though a little bit. To be honest with you, P. Um, I don't want to mention your favorite, but I like your favorite currently because they all are kind of discounted. No pun intended. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and to the just back on Ross real quick, like so Nike, they have Nike there, and like Harry Ellis, Ralph Lauren,
mhm.
whatever. And I think one of the things that you kind of that I look for is this kind of roadmap back to the mall, right? And that I've kind of dropped a couple of those in here and there. And so you talked about the 50 SMA and all of that, and the way that a lot of the stuff that we have not talked about for a long time. As they come back up, and in the way that they come back up in the filters, and I bring them up. It's not like I'm just saying like I look at the conditions and say, hey, I should go look at this stuff. I see them first. I bounce them by you, and then the story starts to emerge. So figuring out the story for the American consumer and how you trade around that is going to be a big thing for what we do. And the neo banking I talked about that comes into that too. From the business side, Square, as people re-examine their point of sale vendors and and things like that. So as the economy kind of dusts itself off from really the energy shock, I think you do the energy trade, you're in it, and then you think about the retail side. Which restaurants showed some strength during this shit show, and the shopping, and which retail brands are just completely in the dirt but not going away, you know, where they don't have to look good, but they're worth a shot, and you'll do well. So there's just so many stories waiting to be written, and the ability to read them as the writing is happening is where our edge is, I think.
Oh no, 100%, 100%. Not to get too far off on them, but man, I held my tongue a little bit. I thought it was gonna go away at like NFT, but I held my tongue a little bit on it. But like the way the conversation has gone is like it's okay to do heroin. What I don't know much about it, but prop firm or funded account, and
Yeah,
like what the no, don't just no. Go
yeah,
back to work.
yeah.
Go back to work. I mean,
You're-
I'm not gonna play that game with those kids, man, and it's depressing because that's like where we met, I guess. You know what I mean? That's like our
Yeah, yeah,
community, and it's just so. I mean, for me, that is this last pullback has exposed a lot. There's either some people out there that trade like a one trick system, which will work, but man, you have to be better than us at market conditions because you have to know when to turn it off so you don't get railed for 3 weeks. Um, and there's just people out there creating content. But man, I have to say it. I have to get it on record. No prop. Or I've never Googled prop firm, so I don't know
yeah.
about blowing accounts over there and stuff. But they're bragging about blowing accounts on account you don't even own. No, it's just it's nasty. It's AIDS in the community, and it's not what you should be doing. You should start even if you got $20 or $100. You should not start with an option that's 15 cents. You should just
Yeah.
buy some stock of something that you use that you believe in that you use in your real life. You should go back to work until you got another 100 or $20 or whatever the fuck you can save, and do that again. And eventually you'll have a couple grand, and then we can talk about doing something different. But until
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
a prop firm ain't it. And that's enough of my rant. I don't know what you want to say about that, but Jesus, that shit's ugly to me.
Yeah, no, and I saw guys start to pivot to those props and funded accounts, and like they you go in their little training thing, and then some of those prop firms were even like using the mop head guys as influencers to
Yeah.
sort of sell their thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And No, yeah, that's no good. And the um, the prediction market thing is very bad for young people too. I think it's you know, especially those are adding margin now, and it's yeah, it's pretty nasty. And
Well, I've always
I
go ahead, finish it. Finish the thought.
oh
Sorry.
yeah, and I just I don't know what's going to happen with those spaces, but I still think that there's a lot of doomerism about jobs and the job market, and all of that. And I think when you are going into any kind of job training or college or whatever, you want to seek to professionalize yourself and build skills, and pursue something that you're good at, and something that you want to do. And I don't think that you just can go into it with like a some kind of sense of hopelessness, and then you turn to these high risk behaviors. And so yeah, psychologically it's not good. I mean, I teach, obviously, and I get a lot of students worried about the job market, and like I shouldn't go into coding or anything because look at AI is going to replace everything. And then the way it plays out, kind of predictable. Companies lean too heavily on AI. Someone's got to fix all that shit, and that's where a lot of the jobs are going to come from. And especially someone's like 18 years old, you can't project 4 years from now what things are gonna look like, just based on a bunch of headlines. And that doomerism at all, it's it drives clicks, it drives views, all the rage baits and um, all that shit. And it's like being a perma bear in the market. There's so much you can always talk about for what's gonna happen there. But how does that end up working out?
Oh yeah.
Over and over and over again. Just time in the market will things will take care of itself. So there's still plenty of opportunities to like work hard in a conventional way and make it. But yeah, these kids wrapped up in all that shit. I
Uh,
agree. It's very very bad news.
not to over promote us at all, but I was adamant when we started this from a separate room. Like, we're not going to alert. You don't need to do that, and we're not one trick ponies. We're just basically going to sell our research, for the lack of better terms, because we are hard workers and we get that that's needed, and to help people kind of create their own style. And we've done a pretty good job sticking to that. So um, the good and the bad that comes from that, I fully accept. But you know, the people that reach out to me still to this day that have been with us for for probably close to 5 years, it's still we still talk the same thing from the start. We're still on the same path. It's not some um, constant pivot. We didn't start out trading penny stocks and now we're trading prop firm options or leveraged Bitcoin. Like we're still doing the same shit. So
Yeah.
for me, that's worth gold. Get off of that on the next one. I thought about this midweek. I didn't write it down, but you just said it. You said the B word, the bear word, and it had an epiphany this week. Why the bear thing really ain't it, boss, and it ain't it for
Yeah.
me. Because if you're a bear, and it's super simple. Unc like keep it simple, right? Super
Yeah.
simple. But if you're a bear, you are betting against America.
Right.
Yeah, that's it, P. It's that
Yeah. I
simple.
mean that's the it's yeah the stock market, the concentration of wealth there and the way the way it's used is such a priority for our government at this point that you know they will seek to protect that um, over Main Street, right? The Main Street Wall Street thing, forget about it. I mean, it's all Wall Street, and then Main Street at times can benefit from what's what's going on there. But yes, I agree. It's structured to go up, and you see insiders playing the volatility on both sides. But so the big wins for shorting the market a lot of times do come from that kind of insider information. It's I think swinging puts is probably the hardest thing to do on my end. I've mentioned before that I could restructure everything I do to only look for that, but you're not going to find the big sustained wins there. Because you're to swing puts like that, you are betting on the sustained failure and decline of a company, and um, that's tricky to do because there's just so much that can bring those back up, and and when I've got that constant threat of that market maker neutral number, it's just it's not something worth doing to me. So I agree. I mean, a lot of the puts are about protection and positioning for me, but that's because you got options on the other side. So if it was shares only, it wouldn't even be really a consideration for me.
Yeah, I mean, you count these candles on the SPY weekly. Um, I'd rather just know when it's coming and know when to chill and stick with the
Yeah.
program. Um, yeah, just something I thought I'd talk about because you get a lot of that right now. Sky's falling, and I said it. I really thought we were gonna get there Friday. Maybe this is a good time to pivot to the SPY stuff, but I thought we were gonna get back to 660 on Friday. I really did. And then I was telling people, I think I said it Monday or Tuesday, that that doesn't mean we're out of the woods because I do think we're redefining the zone. And For me, if I don't have it, like I have the 50, I don't have much around that. We have 660. I just wait for the flow to come in, um, and it'll usually tell you. Um,
Yeah.
it's a little hard. There's so many moves. I know on Spy as opposed to this is the kicker. Y'all want to know what we really do? I'll tell you. At least from my angle. It's a guy that trades shares. Um, Spy's the big one, so it's pretty clouded. Like there's a lot already going on in there. It's all over the place. But when you get to a name like say a Netflix or a Target, I don't know those two random stocks. They can't fucking hide. Or it's just not as much going on. It's not busy. Everybody's not in it. So it's like reading Chinese going back to reading English for a professor. And I trust my TA, and when the shit lines up, it just works. That's pretty much it. But yeah. So I assume they'll move back in P. What was I looking at? I think oh yeah, 50 to 75 is what I would look for. That 650 to 675 for them to defend a bottom and a top around those two numbers. And if not, we could check back, into a different price range. There's really no difference for them right now between let's say 630. No, I'm not going to go that low. 625, 650, 650, 675, or 675, 700. One of those three zones.
Yeah.
Obviously, that top zone's not going to happen because of the just the current geopolitical and mindset of the world. But I do think we need to be mindful of that bottom zone checking down a little bit.
So the that 630 number that I mentioned for months, I guess. I mean they got to that, and it's the new thing. The new one to watch is this heavily sold September 600, and which like 137,000 open interest on it. Um, the contracts thousands, tens of thousands, every couple days, cycling around that one. And but it doesn't really have. I guess you could say the companion for it right now is this 417 630, but they're going to be doing something. You can see in the open interest how much is expiring in April. So there's a lot yet to be done with this, and so all I got is that 600 for September. But like I said, it's heavily sold, 74% bid side right now. So it's a little bit there's a little bit of bait happening right now. I think to clear out some more late shorts is sort of how I read it. So the all the shock value of downside moves will be overnight, and
Correct.
then recovery. So don't chase puts has never been more relevant of a comment. And yeah, so there isn't a lot in the calls. I wouldn't expect there to be. All the calls are gonna be short expiration, but they're gonna be in the around that 660 or 670 push. I think is what you'll see.
One thought, and probably in April, but doubled down now is um, noticing when they are in control, they don't do have as much activity. So we really don't want them to be in control because then they try to gain control, and you can see what they're doing to gain said control. Um, that's the quietness. That's kind of how I dissect the quietness currently. And the market day in day out. I mean, if you have a big note on your wall right now, especially if you use RTL or historical levels, the to it not through it is just there
Yeah.
because it's just
Yeah.
that controlled of an environment. Yeah, I don't. I think that until the you know mission accomplished comes out, we don't have much chance of upward momentum lasting.
Yeah, and I was adamant in QQQ that I was like 620 is where you buy your puts or your SQQQ calls and whatever. And so if you wanted to like legitimately hedge, that was when to do it. Because the people who have done it, down here, you can see that the people who piled in on the the waterfall, that we're right back. So if you're if you were swinging some kind of like lead puts or something, you're right back where you were, and you probably lost some money because of volatility and theta and all that, and so very frustrating, and you're gonna be stuck in that, and you'd have to watch it go back to 600 and decide like, well, I'm underwater. What do I do now? Whereas if you went short at 620, like I talked about, um, you could use 600 as the stop if you felt like it, or whatever you want to do. But um, it's yeah, it's these are some chaotic candles, and I'd expect that to continue for a while.
I don't know who this Theta motherfucker is, but I never lost a dollar to him.
Yeah, right, right.
Yo,
All right, I'll get to some boring.
yeah, and call it a rat. Let's do it.
Yep. So copper, there's there's some stability here. I really, I think, and I mentioned this before when so I said like I thought Pat Bondi was going to get canned, and then she did. I didn't hit Kalshi with that or anything, but I just sort of pay attention, and it just seemed like that soured a bit. And so it's Trump. He's getting restless, shuffling his cabinet around. You've seen that before, and the way that is relevant to stocks to me is that I think he recognizes in an unpopular war, he's going to want to like wrap this up and shift to something else. Now, in this case, Iran's going to have something to say about that as far as how it ends. But we still, he can tell whatever story he wants to, and then you sort of shift to some domestic spending is what I'm looking for. And so, copper I think is in a position to see that, to see some kind of infrastructure ideas come around and get some momentum there. The way copper's holding up is good also for the as a broader market indicator that we're not just going to collapse. Doesn't seem likely. So pretty stable here. Steel is where it's at to me. I think it's a longer term trade, but there's some good setups there.
Nice. I was talking to my son this morning about the well, because it's Easter, but I was talking to him this morning about the war and stuff, and I mentioned to him that I thought Iran was proxy for China, and he said, "Yeah, I'm not against that. I can see it." Um, the rubber hitting the road. I'm just gonna stick with that as far as what you said. Just bounce it off. That's what we need. Market's pouting a little bit about that in general. We just need
Yeah,
something to get done. And immigration and dictators overseas ain't it. Just ain't it for
right.
the American people. Um, yeah, so I think we line up on that and what we need, and I don't know about what he's doing, but um, he needs to do something for the 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 masses, and yeah, the copper, the steel, all that will benefit greatly when it does. Good to see the pullback. I mean, good to see it kind of get a running start,
Yeah,
for lack of better terms, and hold a higher low on most charts. I mean, like you go look at copper. You want to buy SCCO right here? It's like 170, I think. I mean, we were
mhm,
at $80. So just to
right.
see it hold a higher low on stuff. So steel probably the better option to hang out in for me. But there's a lot of little sectors like that we get going that way, which I think we will. So yeah,
And then a silver, just
it's tradable.
there's trades there when you're
Yeah.
talking about 4% moves on the day, and then even like you can just tell what that candle looks like. That uh, there's some things happening in those wicks that you could deal with. So yeah, I keep an eye on those. You'll see those pop back up and collabs and all that.
I you should
Gold
know them.
too.
For me, I'm weird in those P. Like some of those, you should know them. You should have already traded them. Should be your fourth trade if you followed us. If you're a freshman, I'm not going to reintroduce those to you. Like I'm not telling you to trade AG if you're a freshman, or SA if
Yeah.
you're a freshman. But
Okay.
if you've traded that before, you know what to do. Go say thank you.
Yep.
I just put them up like the last two weekly candles since we've had the relief in this chart. They've been great. So, and they're all like that.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So, oil. I mean, I don't know what what can I say.
Are we going to
Um,
200?
now,
Okay, I keep saying that. I'm like, I don't know about all that. That's a fucking stretch. That's a crisis.
one 150 to 175 would be intervention and manipulation on a
Yeah,
scale you can't imagine. Like, so, I mean, it's. I mean, there's
120 is
we're
about it.
already
120 is
they got
about
their
it.
they got their hand in the cookie jar shorting futures already. So, so they're going to try to use paper oil to uh, keep this under control. But it's I don't know. I mean, I think that a lot of um, the stocks once oil calms down and they settle, a lot of those are still going to grind up though. Your Oxy 90 and Devon 75 and things like that. Zom 200, like I mean, all that stuff is still very much on the table, no matter what oil's doing. So and same with there's going to be a lot of midstream stuff and pipeline stocks that wake up and stay awake. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
You could have told me that before I scaled most of the way out of that shit.
Yeah.
Keep what you have left.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, and then natural gas, still, still great. I don't really day to day care that much about what this chart's doing. There's still that 5 to 7 look, and then if you're in the combo names, you're doing fine. So
They're moving. Boy,
yes,
they're moving with. I mean, there's those stocks right now that you like. You see, 6%, 8%, 3%, 4%, and you don't really pay attention. But you get to the end of the week, and you're like, "Damn, that moved. That had a really good move." And yeah, the this chart does not match those charts, and I think this chart should look more like the gas chart or the oil chart. Just with
yeah.
what I know what's going on in the world. So I think the manipulated word needs to be mentioned here because it really feels like it is.
Oh yeah, and it's an older manipulation that really since the Ukraine war has been
Yeah.
going on. So, and it's been, sort of untouched by the current conflict.
Well,
So,
well, run me that down. Like you lose a pipeline that supplies, I don't know, let's just say 20%. It's under that. It's in the teens, but of the world's natural gas through it to Europe, like
yeah,
it's a big percentage, and that gets blown up, right? It's not. It takes a decade to repair that shit, and like the price doesn't do too much. Maybe we had an incident or two on the chart, but you close this little itty bitty straight down, and oil just goes through the roof. It just don't make no sense to me.
right. And I mean, natural gas moved more on, the U.S. getting a cold snap.
Snap. Yes.
I mean, yeah, than a major, you know, the transport crisis like that. Yeah, it's right, and it's a good time to drive a natural gas car. I'll just say that because it's still
Hmm.
cheap. So.
I know. I think about it. I talk about you all the time in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people ask me about my electric, and they're like, I don't know about that option. I was like, well, there's other options. My buddy drives a natural gas car. Go from there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been good. All right, so then we'll go to the 10 year real quick. Yeah, this is good. I mean, the it's still a little bigger candles than you'd want, but getting a little bit of a pullback. I don't remember. Last week I said there's 4 or 5, and I'm like this is gonna get out of hand. Are we going to 5? And kind of didn't think so, but yeah, this calming down's good. Get to 4-2 and we'll talk.
Nice. Yeah. Still like the 413 spot as center mass. Just
Yeah, yeah.
long thesis on things like that for me, and been helpful.
Dollar grinding up. Gonna maybe look for it. I hate to I don't know resistance or whatever 100 psych I guess obviously is significant. Yeah, we'll see. Just another chart you don't want to get too crazy. You're going to see a lot of just currency charts that are nuts, like the
Mm.
the Indian currency against the dollar or Malaysia or some just it's a little chaotic in the world currency market. I never trade that stuff. I know people do, but I wouldn't even know where to.
That was the thing when I was coming out of high school. If you're going to be like a day trader, that's what you would trade. Just
Oh
currency,
yeah,
the yen versus the dollar or whatever.
right, right.
I don't. It might be a flat brain comment, but I'm going to say it in general. But we're winning at bricks. It feels like we're
Yeah,
winning over there. So I don't know how that affects this chart, but I think it will be relevant um, in general to maybe stability, if anything, or getting back
yeah,
to stability for us. And when you made the comment about other currencies going nuts, that kind of lined up with that thought. So put it out there.
yep. And then old reliable, good old Bitcoin. Let's take a
Yeah,
look at that.
I'm not
Um,
against it.
yeah, I mean it's yeah pretty quiet here, and there's opportunity. I've listed it several times, and you're not getting the follow through on Coin and MSTR and all them. I would say that if as you go into this, I think Coin's got to be the one you own, and you can throw Hood in there too. But so they'll give you trades. You can keep a little. MSTR is kind of just sort of trade only for me. I mean, it's getting pretty close to where I build something longer term with it. But it just depend on what the reads show me. And then best opportunity is going to be in some of those your bit farms and things like that. But yeah, those will come back around, I think.
Um, Man, I was a dick about Bitcoin when it was at 110, 120K, but 50% pullback here, I'll be a little nicer. That's just how that shit works. Um,
Yeah,
the part I mentioned earlier about the story or being stuck in the same story that you learned in. I'm not trading SOS on mining Bitcoin at hydro dams because of the cooling aspect of it. I think they're delisted, to be honest. So know where you are in the Bitcoin story and with the charts, even on your old reliables. Um, for me to keep it real easy for you, the best ones are the ones with the data center angles. Um, Stay in those because they have better theses. And then obviously the companies Professor mentioned that are actual companies. Um, yeah, but it's getting better. The longer we stay here, the better. Um, I just don't think we're going anywhere fast.
yeah, yeah, totally with you. Um, all right, so yeah,
That's it.
covered Spy.
Let's do what you got this week in the market. Same old, same old. We'll get out of here.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think the you just get some pretty active overnight future sessions, and a lot of whining about manipulation. People going into heavy overnight thinking we'll get the same direction 2 days in a row, and you know all that. But um, yeah, that's kind of what I see. I think a few surprises in the next round of earnings is kind of what I see brewing in the flow too. So I have a lot to say about that as well.
Yeah, I mean it's out there if you want to trade. I just make sure you're trading off a level. Say thank you a little earlier, or keep the sizing down. Um, but eh, no pun intended. Make sure you're driving the car on them.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, let's say that here. Um, One of the weird things I do, P, is hell weird. I keep a stack of hundreds right here on my desk. There's some fifties in there too. But when I got a trade that I don't want to close, I look at that stack and I pull out whatever it is, 150 bucks, 200 bucks. And
yeah,
I tell myself, this is real money. It's not just fucking numbers on the screen. And I say thank you usually because of that stack of cash. So for what it's worth, know what money really means to you. Because the market does offer a lot of what we used to call lunch money or thank you trades, as we currently say, and
Yeah.
that's best for current environment. Um, when I get back to swing trading, I'll let you know, and if there's something I am swing trading, I can let you guys know on my page. So just be mindful of that and get yourself your stack of cash.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, absolutely. The and you know the flip side of it too, that to when you have a winner, like, and someone's like, well, 50, $75 is not enough. It's like, you made that in 5 minutes.
Yeah, put it in your hand. Put it in
How
your
long
hand.
how long do you have to work to make that much money?
Exactly.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%. You ready to get to work?
Yeah, yeah. Quick coffee refill, and I'm good to go.
I'm gonna go fund this prop firm. I'll be right there. Like and subscribe. Link somewhere, people.